Hello and welcome everyone to God's Unchained headquarters. We're going to be going over a new update that they have recently announced. It is February 17th, 2022, and we're going to be talking about the armor update. So right now what they're considering is changing the armor game mechanic so that anytime an armored creature takes damage that reduces its health, it'll also lose one armor. So if it has more than one armor, it'll only lose one armor at a time. And if it loses any amount of hit points, it'll keep losing that one armor. This could still be useful because it means the creature is still immune to any sources that deal less damage than its armor. But a lot of players also are expressing their concerns because armor now seems more like just boosted hit points than actual game mechanic. But let's go into some of the cards they're proposing to change as a result of changing this game mechanic. These updates are not finalized, and so we're going to go through one by one of each card just to discuss what change they are proposing and whether or not it will have that drastic of an effect. There are quite a few of them here, so we'll try not to spend too much time on them. So we have Blood Armor, the 1-drop, for death. Normally it's used just for a zombie swarm in order to boost all the creature's armors to 1. And now they're going to change it to where it'll actually give them +1 armor. So that way if it already has armor, it'll gain more armor. That does make it a lot better. However, it also will deal your god 2 damage for each creature who's given armor this way. So if you have 6 zombies on the field and you play this card, get ready to take 12 damage. Probably isn't going to be worth it. Chances are this card isn't going to see much play in the future, if they make this change. The Armadillo Familiar, they're going to just increase its stat, so now it has 2 health instead of just 1. This will allow it to survive a little better. And it's still going to be able to give itself +1 armor. So the fact that they're changing this to 2 health will probably actually make it a lot better than expected to most players. For being a 1-drop, it will now be on par with other 1-drop 2/2s, plus it's given itself free armor. So something to keep an eye on for Magic players. The Mesmic Forge is going to have a very big update. It's still going to be backline can't attack in a 0/2 that costs 2. And it's still going to give armor +1. But for now on, at the start of your turn, it deals 1 damage to both gods, which is amazing for a death. This is a huge update. It basically has no downside anymore at all. The old version would actually just deal 2 damage to yourself, the death god who plays it, and gets all the benefits. Now it's going to give you frenzy. Oh. So now it's going to trigger the staff, it's going to trigger everything without having to spend your god power to do so. Expect to see this in a lot more decks going forward, and now they're going to be free to replace the god power with something else. Yeah, that's if you look at Treasure Trove, you'll see its price is already spiking. Hearts of Bronze, another big change. This time it's for war. So instead of just giving +1 armor to each of your creatures, it'll now give +1 armor and +1 strength to each of your creatures. So they'll be able to be more powerful when attacking. Grand Vault is going to have its stats change from 3/3 to 3/4. Same with Bronze Gate, 2/3 to 2/4. And same with Vulnerable Paladin. It'll go from 2/2 to 2/3. The other thing they're changing about is now it's going to give its armor to your strongest creature, which honestly I don't think it's going to make much of a change for Light, considering that it's pretty hard to have her on the field at the same time as another creature, and she dies without the other creature dying. Plus, I'm not sure how this is going to interact with whenever she loses 1 armor. If she dies by damage, she'll lose the armor after taking the damage, which means there'll be no armor to give to the other creature. This would be something to test in the public test realm, but I'll talk more about that at the end of the slides. Um, the Looting Scryer, they're also changing, giving it more health. The Plate Pilferer, they are going to decrease its mana cost from 4 to 3. Honestly, this isn't going to change much about the creature. It's nice that it has Blitz. It's nice that it has 5 health. It's nice that it can attack other creatures and take all their armor. But with armor already only appearing on a handful of creatures in the meta, it doesn't seem like there's going to be much opportunity to actually take their armor. The fact it only has one attack will make sure that it doesn't remove the armor before it attacks it, so that is nice. But don't plan on pumping them with any additional attack strength and then taking armor. That's probably not going to work. Aspect of the Pangolin, they are going to reduce its cost from 4 to 3, and now you only give +2 armor, but at least you get to choose the creature. This is going to be a nice change for Nature, who is trying to build armor decks, because now you actually get to choose your creature, and it only costs 3. The downside, though, is that it's only +2 armor. Nature decks were actually starting to change to where they could actually give +3 armor to the only creature in the field, and usually late game. So it'll be interesting to see what actually ends up happening with this card and its playability. The Spiny Porcupines is having a drastic change. It will no longer have 4 armor, it'll now only have 1 armor. And after the creature takes damage, deal the damage taken to a random enemy creature. They will also be updating its stats to a 2-3, and that will give it more health and make it a little bit more playable. With it costing 4, though, it probably isn't going to see much play after the update. So Kadamos, son of Lancier, they are simply changing its stats from 2-4 to 3-4. Not quite sure what the motivation is behind increasing its attack, except now it will have a little bit more strength when defending itself. And in mirror matches, you can't easily transform it and take control. But other than that, it doesn't really do much. It doesn't address the fact that armor is changing or that the bonus it gives the chosen one is armor based. We'll see what ends up happening. Animated Armory is having a big change. Now it's going to give armor to any creature you summon, but it's still only going to raise it to 1. This will actually be very useful when it comes in terms of using the Acolyte God Power, the 3 costing God Power that produces a 2/2 Acolyte. So now, whenever you activate that God Power animated armies on the field, it will gain 1 armor. So it's a cute ability, and it makes it a lot simpler than the old way of relying upon it being an Olympian or Mystic creature. But again, though, it's only raising its armor to 1. So the other light creatures that have armor will see no benefit from it. Pan Forge Master stat is changing from 3/3 to 4/3. They're trying to make him more worthwhile for costing 4, and the fact that his give +1 armor now isn't going to be as beneficial. But again, though, increases attack, it doesn't seem like it's going to do much in its playability. Smith's Hammer, that reduces its mana cost from 5 to 4. Everything else about it's the same. Don't expect much change in its playability. Guardian Simiculum, again, everything about it's being the same, except now, instead of it being at the end of turn, you set this creature's armor equal to your total spell boost. Now it's at the start of your turn, set this creature's armor equal to your total spell boost. This doesn't sound like much of a change, but actually dramatically makes the card worse. Because now, if you have spell boost going on your field and you play this card, he won't get that benefit unless he survives until the next turn, which, costing 6 mana and having no armor, you've likely spent all your mana on the turn, so you can't clear the opponent's board that turn, and chances are they're going to have a lot of creatures to swarm him and kill him before he gains any armor. So you'd expect him to not be used as much, and he's already not being used much as it is. And then Giant Pangolin, This poor card, they just cannot seem to leave him alone. They are going to give him +1 armor, so now he has armor 2. Blitz and Confused. Um, he's always been a staple for nature ever since he came out. And they keep tweaking him. They're trying to give him a little bit of a boost. We'll see what it does. And that's it. So the PTR has been live from February 15th to February 17th. It'll close at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The reason why I brought up earlier about the PTR and testing cards is that I haven't been able to do it. I have submitted bug requests, and I continue to not be able to test any of the cards. Um, some people have been posting their thoughts and that they have been successful in being able to test cards, but I have not had that good fortune. So I'm sorry for this video being late. I was hoping to be able to test the game mechanics a little before posting about it. Unfortunately, I cannot. But hopefully you'll have better luck and be able to enjoy it before it closes. Um, my thought is that I am hopeful that they will extend the PTR, get more feedback, uh, and see what they're going to do with these changes. Now, if you followed the last update, which was the Sleep 2.0, they did not go through with that. So keep that in mind when considering uh, price changes in cards and whether or not you're going to buy or sell. So that is it for the armor update. Thank you so much for listening and for keeping up with us. Stay tuned. We will post a result update later on in the week. We are excited to see what changes they come out with. Typically, they don't announce these things during the weekend, but we look forward to seeing what they say. So thank you so much again, and I will see you all in the next update.